What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am back with another tips video for you guys, and this is one that you guys have been asking a lot for, and I'm hesitant to do it because simply it is hard to pitch in this game, but I do feel that I have been a good pitcher throughout my MLB the Show career, so I feel like it is my responsibility to bring you guys what you guys have been asking for. Now, I am not going to guarantee you that I'm going to get in a game and not get absolutely shelled, but the whole point of this is to try to give you guys the best guidance on how to try to limit yourself getting shelled. If that doesn't make sense, you'll understand by the time we're done with this video. So first I'm going to go over my settings, and then I'm going to play an actual ranked seasons game where I show you my approach on pitching to people. Now it's more going to be about where I'm locating stuff, where I'm trying to induce soft contact, all that stuff. It's hard to get strikeouts on a lower difficulty such as the one I'm on right now. So we're just going to play it by ear, and hopefully I can help you guys get to where you need to be. Now, something that I've always thought was important pitching is using pure analog, because I used to be a guy who used button/meter, whatever it's called. I used to use that myself, and once I made the switch to pure analog in around 2017, I believe, I started pitching way better. Now, before I was more of a careless pitcher when I was young. I was just used to just pitching, getting rocked, and then just trying to out-hit them, but as I get older and my hand-eye coordination gets a little lower, pitching does become more important, unfortunately. So I'm on pure analog and I love it. Sometimes it's hard, but every pitching format's hard. A lot of guys use pulse, which is absolutely random. Meter, if you guys use meter, I'm not mad at it because one of my very good friends uses meter, and he at times is a very dominant pitcher. So I guess it all depends on preference, but I use pure analog and I suggest you guys should at least give it a try, whether it be in ranked seasons or in custom practice or whatever. Just try it out, see how you guys like it. Now for pitching view, I like to use outfield. It may be just a mental thing, but it makes me feel like I'm a lot more accurate with my meter and where I place the ball in the hoop. So I know that sounded like basketball terms, but that's what you call the little target on the pure analog meter. But I suggest you guys try out outfield. If you guys use catcher, that's okay too. The one thing that kind of sucks about the pitching view I use is unless you have the commentators on, you're not going to know if anybody's stealing. So I use outfield, and sometimes I give up stolen bases. There's got to be ways to work around that. If that's important to you, then just turn on your commentator's volume. But basically this, I just feel like I'm more accurate with this, and I think a lot less, and I hang a lot less pitches. It may just be mental, but it gives me the biggest confidence boost when I'm pitching. This is something that I just recently changed to last year, and it was a game changer. I'm not sure why, but I can explain to you guys the perks that I've seen with it. With Classic on, you see how many arrows that represent the movement of the pitch. The arrows point to where the ball is going to end up, and with those arrows, you can tell exactly how much your pitch is pretty much going to break unless you hang on. So you can tell if the slider is going to be flat based on your pitcher's confidence or whatever. The more you put it outside, it may have more break to it, with guys like John Smoltz or Sergio Romo of last year, guys like that. So I like to use that, and for some reason it seems like I hang a lot less pitches too. A lot of people that I put on with this strategy, they said that they also experienced a lot less problems pitching. So I suggest you guys give this a try. A lot of people use this one. This is the one that I used to use a lot. It just shows like the laser to where your ball is going to go. I think this is the way to go. I suggest you guys try it. Now, people will say that you could go to custom practice and work on your pitching and all that stuff. I'm more of a guy that just likes to, it's like sparring, you know? Like, you want to actually practice it in live time. You want to practice it against somebody who's trying to beat you, and you're not going to get any more practice than pitching to somebody who's trying to hit and win off of you. You don't want to practice pitching against the computer because you never know exactly how it's going to be in an actual matchup. You know what I mean? A lot of humans have different tendencies than a CPU is going to have. So I suggest you hop into a ranked seasons game. Or you could do a friendly, you know, but make sure it's a DD team. Make sure you're facing guys that are using players that you're most likely going to face, and make sure you're using pitchers that you're most likely going to use in DD. That's the only way you're going to get better. If you're going to take a couple L's, that's fine, but if you need pitching tips, you're probably already taking some L's. So just take it from me, hop into DD like I'm about to do to show you guys, and let's get this going. As always, make sure to leave a thumbs up on this video if you guys find these tips helpful. I really like to dive in and try to get as detailed as I can. So if you guys have any questions after that I may have missed on accident, make sure to leave them in the comments below and I'll be sure to answer them. Make sure to hit subscribe if you guys haven't yet. I'm trying to get to 20K this year, so help me out with that. And also turn on that notification bell so you guys know exactly when I go live, alright? So for this game, we're using Corey Kluber for our pitching tips video because we want a guy with a good arsenal of pitches that I can use to show you guys how to use it, okay? Because there aren't a lot of guys that have that good arsenal yet, so we're going to use him. Now, the guy we're facing has Ronald Acuna, Cody Bellinger, Nolan Arenado, Christian Yelich, Lindor, Gallo, Baez, and Gary Sanchez. So it's definitely a good guy to face because he has good hitters, so you'll know that Corey Kluber is not just striking or getting out golds for no reason. Okay, let's go. So the best first tip I can give you guys about pitching is get yourself some run support. Put yourself in a situation where you're not worried too much, you're not nervous, you know, you're just getting the job done. Get yourself some runs, let yourself be comfortable while pitching, or else you're probably going to make more mistakes while you're nervous. That was a perfectly squared up ball, and unfortunately we got out on it. That's going to hang up. Damn it. Alright, so that's 2 outs on 2 very good PCI placement hits, but we're just going to have to overcome it and try to get one to clear the wall right now. Just like that, that's usually how you do that. So Gallo puts us up 2-0. Now pitching will be a little less stressful. We give Corey Kluber a little bit of wiggle room. We could get a little bit more risky with pitches, and normally when I get a lead, it makes it a lot easier for me to settle down. Perfect fly ball. That's supposed to leave, right? Okay. Okay. That was a perfect fly ball. So that was 3 outs on 3 absolutely shit on balls. Sometimes that'll happen, but now we focus on pitching. So the first thing I like to go over, Corey Kluber. He has a sinker, a slurve, which replaces the slider. Usually you want at least one of those. A cutter, and a four-seam, and a changeup. Now the first inning, I always like to test out my opponent to see what his tendencies are. So I'll pitch away, I'll pitch inside, I'll pitch high, I'll pitch low, I'll throw hard stuff, I'll throw soft stuff, just because I want to see what their weaknesses are. The earlier I find out what type of hitter they are, the more successful I'll be throughout the game. If I throw stuff that they hit hard, then I'll adjust to it. You know, I want them to hit it hard more than once though. If they hit a ball hard once, I'm not just going to assume that they hit that well all the time. They could have just been sitting on it. I want to make sure that they were locked into that pitch and that they will always be locked into that pitch. Because if that's the case, then I'll obviously stay away from it. But I'll use that against them. I'll know that they're trying to sit on hard stuff or they're sitting on inside stuff, so I'll pan them with low and away soft stuff. You know what I mean? That's just how you got to do it. You got to always learn how to adjust to people. Now this guy hasn't swung at too many bad pitches. He made soft contact on the high sinker, so that could be something I could start attacking. I'm throwing something right now to try to get back in the strike zone. So now it's 2-2. The first test I'm going to have for him is I'm throwing this and see if I could get him looking. I need to place it in order to test that though. So I placed it well. I didn't get him looking, but I got him to make a bad swing. So obviously he wasn't ready for that pitch. And maybe he's not that good at going up and in when he's not expecting it because he was very late on it. So that's definitely going to be something that we're going to be trying to attack, whether it be to get back in the strike zone or whether it just be to try to get outs. Against Nolan Arenado, it's a 0-1 count. Throw a changeup right there. He was able to get a hold of it. We're not going to die for that. X Factor is a whole nother thing that we'll eventually end up going over. It's just hard to really go over lesson with it when it's just so rare. But X Factor, it was that little red blob where basically it tells you that you have a chance to make a good play or you have a chance to just play it off the hop. More often than not, you'll kind of recognize whether you'll be able to get it or not. That one I absolutely would not have been able to dive and get it. So as you've seen, he flailed on that changeup, which means he could have been sitting for that high sinker, but unfortunately I doubled up and he was able to adjust to it. Okay, so right now he's got Francisco Lindor up, and I'm going to try to do some soft contact right now, just because I don't want to get too fancy and end up missing a pitch and making it where he can just, you know, just annihilate a pitch. So it's a 1-1 count. I'm going to keep attacking him high since he was very late on that and he was early on the... Okay, so now we're in a 1-2 count. I'm going to throw a waste pitch and see how he swings at this because we haven't tried the slurve against him yet. Okay, so it's not a waste pitch if he swings at it. We're going to attack him high and in. Hope we get him looking or swinging. Ooh, that was very close pitch. We threw the pitch exactly where we wanted. It just shows that if it was a strike, he would have taken it for strike 3. So now we have a full count, so runners are moving. So we definitely don't want to give him something to hit too hard. We're going to go the sinker again. And then we get the ground out, luckily. So we throw out 21 pitches. That's a little more than we wanted to, but all that matters is the score is still 2-0. Everybody in chat who's curious, I'm just recording a pitching tips video right now. Long overdue. I've been trying to do it for the last 2 days, but I haven't gotten the chance. So this one's going to go up regardless of whether I do well pitching or not. Because the tips will be the same regardless, and it's all just advice. Alright, we get the leadoff walk. Like I said, the best pitching tips I can give you is just hit well and get run support. Just try to get as many runs as you can. Please don't be a double play. Alright. Lindor with the nice, perfect fly ball. That's not going to be a home run, but it is going to be against the wall. We're going to... Oh, wow, what a relay. What a relay. So we got to be cautious if relays like that. We got him in on second and third, luckily still. Now our pitcher's up, so that's a really unfortunate and clutch relay for him. Jesus, Kluber. That was close. Kluber almost got himself the run support. Alright, now we're in a sticky situation. 0-2 is not good with the pitcher out. And that'll do. That'll do. That will do. I had a feeling he wasn't going to go home. I'm not sure why, but it was a risk I was willing to take. We get the run home. That's a big at-bat. And then that's an even bigger at-bat. Mike Trout goes yak. So now we're up 5-0. We're up 5-0 in a game that's going to get us closer to World Series and in a game where we have our ace on the mound. So like I said, we got our run support now. Now we can lock in on pitching. Just try to focus on making good pitches. And now we can even afford to test him a little more to see what pitches that he hits well and what pitches he doesn't, because we can afford to, you know, kind of experiment with it. Okay, so he's got Gallo up. The one thing that I try to remember while pitching the guys is I try to remember their vision. Joey Gallo has a very low vision. So I try to throw pitches like sinkers, cutters, curveballs, pitches that are harder to get your PCI on because they move. Four seams against Gallo, they're never really the wave because that's the easiest pitch for them to put the PCI on. So right there, we throw a nice pitch. He was able to make contact with it. I'm going to try that again, and I'm going to try to get it to break in towards his knee. Oh, he laid off on it good. That's exactly where I wanted that pitch, so that's fine. We're going to try to throw the sinker up and in because I don't think that he'll be able to get to it even if he sees it. Right there, I put it down the middle. I missed my spot completely, so that's just completely my fault. That was just my thumb messing up and me not doing my job to make that pitch where I wanted. But we approached him perfectly. It was just one bad pitch we made, and unfortunately that's just the case sometimes. Now we throw a cutter on the outside and we get him to make weak contact immediately, which is very good because he doesn't advance the runner and we get an out. Okay, so against Gary Sanchez rakes against all pitches, it seems like, this year. But the one thing that I've noticed that I've done well with him is I just try to jam him and I try to get him to roll stuff over. So I try not to give him too many pitches to hit towards the middle of the zone because his power is insane. So we're going to try to go cutter on the inside. Okay. I think I can go there again, but for now I'm going to throw a quick waste pitch and see if I can get him to chase on the slurve. And luckily we get him looking. Now we got his pitcher up, so it's the best possible situation. What I'm going to do now, this is a quick like defensive tip for you more than it's a pitching tip. Now, when there's a guy on second, such as Joey Gallo, he's not very fast, right? I mean, he's like a 64 speed, something like that, but he's not a Juan Pierre, somebody like that. So what I do, I know if the pitcher is most likely going to get a hit, it's going to be a soft contact bloop or something like that, or a soft ground ball up the middle, whatever. So I get my guys and I put him in shallow. So even if he gets a base hit, I have a chance to throw him out at home. You're never really going to get burnt with the pitcher hitting it over your head. That's just not something that's ever really going to happen. There's times where they'll get the single and still score, but there's never times where putting the guy in shallow is going to hurt you against the pitcher. Luckily, we get the strikeout anyways. The other tip I'll give you guys when pitching to pitchers in situations like that, just don't give them a fastball. Make them earn it if they're going to get a hit. Make them use their PCI, that small PCI that the pitchers have, and make them place that on it. That's a gross hit, and I feel bad for him. Unfortunately, that's what happens sometimes when you're trying to get in a groove pitching. Something like that can happen and throw you off. You just got to shake it off and keep going. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate that it happens, but it does, and it happens to everybody. Now, the second best tips I can give you about pitching when it comes to not actually pitching is get mercy rules. Because it saves your pitcher's energy. It saves your pitcher's energy, and it makes it where they don't have to pitch any innings, and you can't give up runs if you don't pitch innings. So this is a prime example of how stuff can go downhill, and especially with a guy like Walter Johnson. He's already given up 5 runs in 2 innings, and now everything he throws, even with the weak contact stuff, is, look at this. This is the worst luck I've seen for a guy this whole game. I admit when it's bullshit. This is the worst luck I've ever seen for a guy. I just got 3 of the worst possible hits ever, and I'm pretty sure I'm probably going to hit a grand slam. So it's just unfortunate for him. That's the bad part about making good pitches sometimes, unfortunately, is you get them to make weak contact, and sometimes it just doesn't end up the way that you would hope it would. So like I said, we end up hitting the grand slam because that's just what happens in situations like that. I'm obviously a good hitter, so when you give me that many breaks, I'm gonna clear the bases eventually. You know what I mean? It's fucked for him. It really sucks for him, and I feel bad for him. He's probably gonna quit now, and I don't blame him because that was just a shitty ending to that inning. Yeah. So I'm glad you guys got to see my approach for pitching, and I'm glad we didn't have to go along too much because we went over my settings, we went over my certain approaches in certain situations, and you don't really need a 9-inning game for that anyways, so I'm glad you guys got to see it. I appreciate you guys watching. If you guys have any other questions, make sure to leave them in the comments below so I can tell you guys exactly what I missed out on. And make sure to leave a thumbs up on this video if you guys enjoyed it and you found it helpful. The last tip I'll go over, I've been using this Galaxy Control Freak on my right stick to help precisely aim my ball in the hoop a little bit better while pitching. This is my high rise. You can see how this one's higher, this one's lower. I use the shorter one on my pitching analog, and I use the taller one to locate my PCI and all that. So that's something that can help you guys. It definitely has helped me. And like I said, any other questions, just ask, all right? I appreciate you guys stopping by. I will see you guys very soon. Peace.